In the midst of full time jobs, relationships, exercising, social life, and all the ever growing daily to do list, can you find the time to organize, clean, and declutter your space? Join us today as we ask ourselves, are we organization freaks? Hello, listeners. We are the Happy Go Moody podcast with your hosts, Vivian and Natalia. Natalia, are we organization freaks? What do you think?
That's a great question. I think I consider myself organization freak, but a lot of the times and a lot of things are not very organized in my mind.
Hmm.
I think when my mind is organized, my life is organized. I don't know if that makes sense,
Yeah.
but I need to organize everything in my head first. And it's like my exterior life is a mirror of what is going on inside of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I like to have everything organized. So I guess, am I organization freak? I will say I like to think I am,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of the times my things are not organized, and that bugs me. What about you?
Well, in general, today, because I am taking care of my mental health, I'm not anxious all the time. But I have to say that it was my anxious state that drove me into an organized life. The way I see it, my home is my sanctuary. It's the space outside of my body that I go to rest, to relax, to meditate, to like recover. So I like to keep things in place. I don't like clutter, and cleanliness is like necessary. I don't like, you know, uh, I am an organization freak. I like things like properly organized. Is it this way all the time? I don't think so, but it is most of the time. It is like if things are in place and they're clean, a clutter especially bothers me a lot. But this way, like if I keep things stable. I'm at home and I feel relaxed, safe. I feel the environment itself offers me room to be creative. I have more space to like think about creative things than thinking about like, oh my God, I need to vacuum and I didn't get to it yet. Like that takes a lot of space in my head if I haven't done it yet. But I feel that's become a habit that I carry with me everywhere I go into my daily life. So if I'm working, I make sure to keep things organized as much as possible so I feel prepared for work. If I'm traveling, I make sure to create a list of things I need to do, I need to pack, and the reason behind everything that I am bringing with me. I know that sounds crazy, but is it too crazy? Like, do you have the habit of making lists?
Well, I don't know if that's crazy, down crazy as well, because I I do the same thing. I do lists before I travel. I make a list of everything I have to bring, what I have to bring. Isn't it really necessary? Can I bring in a smaller size? Because I'm all about compact, practical. I'm a very practical person. I
Mhm.
want everything to have a reason, even the things I have in my house. So like I consider myself an organized freak, and I like to think myself this way because if something is messy, then I'm not happy. I want that to be, at least I want to know where everything is at. And I want to know that that thing is really necessary. So even with clothes, I go through my closet very often to like, hey, I haven't worn this shirt for like, I don't know how long. Do I really need it? Because I'm not wearing it. Let me just donate because someone else can be wearing. And not only because of that, like if I'm not wearing, why am I, using that space in my house? I don't want to do that. So I do like we have a lot of rotation here in my place of, especially with my kid with toys. Like, are you not playing with this toy anymore? Then let's not keep it. My house is not huge.
Is she okay with that?
She's so used to this because we've been doing that since she's a baby. I mean, I know she's a baby, she couldn't do it, but she's been seeing me doing it, right? And kind of like doing this rotation on her things and her toys and her clothes that she's used to. And sometimes she actually asked, like about 2, 3 weeks ago, she's like, hey, mom, let's do an organization and donate the toys I don't play with anymore. So she's so used to doing that I think she likes that too. She likes to change her room, like, hey, let's move the bed now from this way, and let's put it on that place now against that wall, to make a little change. And then when we do all this reorganization of her room, we pack some toys, and she likes, it's kind of like an exercise we do. And then we donate the toys that she doesn't play with anymore, and she knows, sometimes we donate to people that we know. I say donate, but like we give it away, to some younger kids that we know, that like, and she knows like, oh, Chamo's baby is gonna love this, I'm gonna give this to the baby, like. So we create a habit of making sure we don't keep in the house things that are no use anymore. That's what I try to do. Because I'm very practical, I would like to know where everything is at, and I would like to know that things that don't serve anymore are not here. I'm not keeping it.
Yeah.
Um,
Do
yeah.
you so it's funny that you say like do you change your furniture, like your furniture to new places often? Like cuz I do that a lot, but I didn't know you did that too.
I knew that. I mean, Jason doesn't do that as much. I think if it was up to him, Mr. Natalia, he would just leave the stuff there, and not ever change. I get bored for some reason. I'm like, I need the change. Yeah. So it's like, hey, let's change this around. Why not put, this closet over there? Drawer, whatever, over there, and this over there, and then change. I like the change. It's kind of like I'm rebirth. I don't know, like if
Yeah,
my
it's
day,
so
yeah.
the energy of the space definitely changes. And then sometimes I have an idea and I just change my bedroom. I move the bed to be by the window. And it was not I thought it wasn't gonna work. And like I was talking to Mr. Vivian yesterday and we kind of love it. We love it. We're like, oh my God, our bedroom is so cozy now. And there's the light from the natural light from the outside and the curtain looks prettier. And I don't know what it is, but it definitely has like it changes the energy of the room, right?
I totally agree. I think I need that change. So I do pretty often in Emma's room, because that's kind of like our space, Emma and I, and Mr. Natalia doesn't doesn't care too much if we change things around. But
Mhm.
it's complicated because I think he's so settled on the way things are, and he's not a big in change, and I am very big on change. So we kind of have to compromise. And I change a lot on rooms that is not going to impact him too much. But if it was up to me, I would be changing things around all the time. And because I agree with you, it's like the day that you reorganize your room, or declutter, take your stuff out, right? And hey, we're gonna give this away, or this here has no use anymore, we're gonna give this away. The day after you do all of that, you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh yeah, I'm waking up in this clean, organized house, right? And you
Yeah,
feel
it's
so
so
much better.
satisfying. Yeah,
It's
it
so
feels
satisfying. So
lighter.
totally
Absolutely.
agree.
I agree. I want to go back to lists because I want to paint a picture for you and our listeners. To
Okay.
me, lists are where it all starts. Actually, it starts in my head. So when I'm just thinking that I need to make a list so I won't forget whatever it is that I just thought about it, the moment I grab the pen and my black pocket size notebook, magic begins. And I mean literally. Now you might be asking yourself, like, what is this woman talking about it? But what I mean is the moment I place an item on my list, I know that it is only a matter of time for me to get it done. So the list for me is like big. Just talking about it makes me happy. That's how crazy I am. When I think about something that I want to get done, I tend to visualize that thing done already just for a second in my mind. And it's just a habit of mine. The moment I put that onto paper, that idea has been materialized, I feel. And with the help of the ink, like going to that paper, it just becomes like a reality. And I know it will be done. So it's like a witchy daily practice. And I don't know, do you have any tips for people who are not that organized but want to be better organized and don't know where to start?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I totally agree with you. And magic happens too when I get a pen into a list, because I love making a list. I am actually a joke at work, because I do like my to do list of everything I have to do for work, and I put the day that I'm going to get it done. Right. And a lot
Oh,
of
you
times
do? You give
I do.
yourself like a date?
a timeline, yeah, like, I like, those are the things I wanna get it done today, those are the things for tomorrow, those are the things that it has to be
Oh,
done,
you're
like, within a
way
week.
ahead of me.
So I do that, and I work a lot of times, like, let's say I had, like, 5 items on my to-do list that day. I have to do this code, I have to do this, whatever, and then is the end of the day is there, and then, like, let's say I just chat a lot. I chat a lot with my friends, with my coworkers and whatever, and then it comes to the end of the day, and I only did, like, 2 items of my list instead of 5. So I just go to my list and I change the day from today to not tomorrow, right? And like I reshuffle because like, okay, it didn't have to be done today, but I wanted to, but I didn't get to it. Right. So I just changed the day for tomorrow. So it became like it was like a joke at work. It's like, hey, it's the end of the day. Are you changing all the items for tomorrow now? Because everyone knew I had the habit of doing that. But I do need a list like you, and I do enjoy creating the list. I think you said if I have a tip, I think one big thing for me is people that don't have the habit of doing lists, or people that don't have no don't are not very organized, and I tell that to some friends of mine. You will always kind of like getting mad at yourself or thinking or stressing yourself out. I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do that. Like even
Mhm,
a grocery
mhm.
list, like, oh, I have to buy eggs and I have to buy milk and I have to buy bread. You have to remember that eggs, milk. So you're kind of putting a stress on your mind, right? Because you're trying to constantly reminding yourself, hey, I have to buy the. Once you put it down on the paper, like I have my grocery list on my phone. So every time I think about something, I go to my phone and I add, like, let's say eggs. So I add eggs. And this way, I don't have to stress myself out and think, oh, what was it I have to get again? I don't have to do that because I already wrote it down. So for me, the list is important because you get this out of your, I have to remember this, and you got it down so you don't have to worry about it. And when I'm in the grocery store, I know I like, what did I have to get again? I think it was 5 things. No, it was 6 things. No, everything is on my phone. I already know because I wrote it down. So I don't have that stress that some people have. It's like, oh man, I forgot. And then you get it and then you buy only two of the things, the things you need to buy. And then you get home and you're like mad at yourself. So I think once you write it down, you take the stress out of your mind. And one other tip that I think is important that it helped me a lot, and that's thanks to my mom. My mom used to say that to me is if you let's say you're sitting in front of your computer and you have to do some work, right? And you have to work, but you don't feel like it. You just don't feel like it. You have to do something, I don't know, send an email out. But you're not in the mood and you don't feel like it, you don't know what to write. And then you just sit in front of your computer like, I should be writing this email. And then you open a website and start doing something else or start looking at Instagram and you're like, I should be doing the email. I should be doing the email. So you're kind of like you're stressing yourself out. And what my mom always said to me, hey, you should be doing the email, but you're not. And that's okay. It's okay not to do it, right? You're not in the mood. You're not doing it now. So instead of like using this 30 minutes of your life stressing out that you should be doing something while you're actually on Instagram, stop everything and tell yourself, I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to do it in 30 minutes. And right now, I'm going to enjoy the time that I'm scrolling on Instagram. Or like accept the fact that you don't want to do it and you're not going to do it. It's okay, it's okay. Take the 30 minutes because then that 30 minutes that you're actually like, I don't know, doing nothing or scrolling Instagram or something, you're not feeling guilty and you're actually resting. So after 30 minutes, you may have a little bit more energy to go and actually do what you have to do. Now, if you spend 30 minutes feeling guilty, you're not really relaxing, you're not really resting. So whenever the 30 minutes is over, you're already stressed out. You get it?
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. I think that is so important because when you start like I put dates, I thought like, oh, that would not work for me because I don't like I don't like pressure, you know? I don't think many of us like pressure. But what you then you went on to explain, so you give yourself a list for the day, but you also give yourself the flexibility to change that according to how the day is going. I think that's huge, you know, because we do spend a lot of the time feeling guilty and pressure, you know. So we don't need to create extra things to feel more guilty and more pressure about the world we live in. How about, I'm really organized, you're really organized. I think I always have my challenge is my clothes, you know. I my husband's clothes is, like, all perfectly organized just the way I left, but if you open my wardrobe, it's just it starts really well, but by the end of the week, it's like a pile of unidentified objects. So, you know, I have I it's not all organized in my house, like, there are things that are definitely, like, it's a challenge for me, so I need to weekly, like, rearrange, like, do you have anything, any part that's like, "Oh, this is, like, the space we don't touch because it's the messy space," or something like that?
Yeah, I think everyone has one of those. Or I don't know. I think, I hope not. I think there is people out there that are completely organized on everything, but clothes is not a problem for me. First of all, because I wear the same clothes every day.
What do you mean?
No, my closet is like super organized, and I wear like the same, workout pants. I have like, I don't know, five, like a little pile of workout pants and a little pile of t-shirts.
Ah.
Normally like those free t-shirts. Yeah, I get one of those pants, one of those t-shirts, then it goes to the laundry, then I get the next one, goes to the laundry, and then after like a week, when I wash everything, I just have to put those five pants back and five shirts back because I'm not very stylish. I always wear the same thing. So I don't have a problem with clothes, but I do have a problem with little things. Like I have so many little things that don't have a spot,
What
right?
type of little things?
For example, like the hand sanitizer, the masks, and keys, and like those little things. We have like a couple of drawers in our kitchen that is just the messy drawers, right? The grocery bags, like they don't have a place. And I know we should normally they say you should assign a place for everything so your things keep, are organized. But it's somehow like, yeah, we assign a couple of drawers and the drawers are always messy. And I can try to organize the drawers, but like on the rush of every day, like I'm just going to the grocery, just get it out and put it back and it's just messy, like where is it again? Right. So I have problem with little things, and I just don't know. I don't know the place for it.
Yeah, I don't have
You know?
one drawer like that. I have 2, so I won.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what those drawers contain? Like, my dog's medication, then random keys that I don't know where they came from, like tape, rubber bands, like, it's just little crappy little things that I feel like, "Well, I might use this rubber band one time in my life and might need it, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
save it," but, it's there and I never use it, and every time I move with my rubber bands, put in a new drawer.
Those are my drawers, and my drawers is
Yeah.
to have, like, a bottle opener there too. Why do I have a bottle opener together with, like, hand sanitizer and Band-Aids for my kid, and, like, doesn't make any sense. But it's just like that, those massive drawers, and yeah, I don't know, I'm not very organized on that.
Who taught
I
you to
guess.
organize things? Did you grow up in an organized house?
My mom, I think she's a little OCD. I think I am OCD too. I don't think, I know I am, like, totally
Oh,
OCD.
really? I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know. I think I am. I know I am. I am OCD because when I, even when I was a kid, I think I have always been this way. I remember it was very bad. When I was like 9 or 10 years old, every time I would touch something, I'll have to touch like two times and make a circle around.
What?
Like I touch like a wall a little
Uh-huh.
bit, and I was like, I had to touch it again and make a circle. I don't know why. And
Oh, I didn't
later
know
on,
that about you.
yeah, I realized this is crazy. Why do
So
I
do
do
you
that?
but do you still do that?
No, I'm careful not to do, but like if I'm running, I like to run, like I'm a little runner. And if I run and there is like those sidewalks that has the line, between the stones, whatever, I try not to step on the line with one foot. If I do, I have to step with the other one to be equal for some stupid reason in my
Oh, so
mind.
you are a little bit OCD, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
hasn't got to the point that kinda, like, keeps you at home, right? Like,
No, I think I am aware that I have this, so I
okay,
just try to, not be
manage.
too crazy. Yeah, to manage. But I do know that I have that, and I know my mom has that too. So like my mom's house, everything has its place, and everything is very practical too. Like in the kitchen, she has to be able to, when she's in front of like the oven or the stove, she has to be able to reach everything she needs. So she places things like perfectly in order, and I
Yeah.
got that from her. So yeah, not with the
Yeah.
kitchen because I don't cook and I am a horrible cook, but with other things.
But everything else. No, I am like that. Like, there are actually studies that show that people who are organized, and keep the house, their living space organized, or their office organized, that they have a better quality of life because their mind is a bit more relaxed, believe it or not. I have one tip. I don't know, this works for me, and if it resonates to you, feel free to make it yours, whoever is listening. So to me, the word is declutter. Try to look at things as you have in the back of the closet or in the box you haven't touched for the last 3 years. To me, is always the 3-year mark. So I I I like taking things out in the open, and then I can see everything that I have, what is useful, and what does still hold any meaning to me. Oftentimes, we have way more than we need, and getting rid of things that don't serve us anymore can bring not only more space to organize the things that are being put into use, but also it can bring such a new energy into our life. So our To me, our outer world is often a reflection of our inner world, how we feel inside, and vice versa. So I think that once you improve one, the other one inevitably gets benefited from. So if I'm feeling messy inside and I sit in my meditation cushion, and I meditate, I usually come out already feeling like I'm going to organize. So one feeds into the other. And I think it's a good idea to really, you have all these things in the closet, in the garage, especially when I lived in studio apartments. I had so much less than I have now, and I was fine. But as we move into bigger spaces, now I live in a house and I have a lot of rooms to keep things. So I am always careful to not, like you said, keep things that are not really doing anything for me. And I don't want to just keep them in a closet if someone else who needs them, or can have fun with that thing, can have it. So I'm pro, like, donating and helping each other. There are even like groups that trade things.
Yeah, the name is Buy Nothing. Is actually pretty good. I think is a very useful group. I mean, you can just, if they have something you don't use it anymore, they can use it, and vice versa. So
So you're organized. I'm organized. I ask you, like, how is your partner? Because sometimes it's not the two people in the couple, they are organized. Are there problems with that or no?
Um, Jason's very organized, but in a different way that I am. Like he would never do a list. I need to do a list for everything like you. And I actually enjoy doing the list, right? He is organized in a sense that he does not want to see mess around him. So he picks up and makes sure everything is like clean on the outside, but I don't think it matters for him too much if like inside of a drawer or inside of a closet is messy. As long as you don't see it, he's okay with that. I don't know how is in your house.
Kevin, Mr. Vivian is pretty organized. At some things he's better than I am, and some other things, because I'm very detail oriented. So I have my issue is myself, because because
I love that.
because I look at detail, he doesn't. So I want him to take care. I want to change him. It's not that I rationally I think that is ridiculous, but when I'm frustrated, then those things, I look at those things, I'm like, Kevin, why did you do this and you didn't do that, and is this way the best way to do it? I actually have when I walk around the house multiple times, I'll look at something that's like messy and I go, Kevin, in my head, because I stop myself from saying. And sometimes I'm so used to doing that sometimes it's my mess that I left or like one thing out of place, and I think, "Kevin," and then later I go find out that it was me. So that's why I say the problem it's me. I think he does what he can and he really like cares that I am organized, but there are definitely days that he's like, that's enough, right? Like it's like 10 p.m. Are you gonna still do more stuff or can we just sit down and relax?" But other than that, it's okay. But listen, some people like messy house. I don't know how their brain works, but
um,
there's not only one way
yeah,
to do
and the way
things,
we do is not necessarily the right way, right? It's the right way for me. I have
Yeah,
stuff on my list
yeah.
that's been there for about a year.
I see. I don't have that list. I only have more immediate like lists, things I can get done now. I actually do wanna make a list of things because we bought a house last year, and we're living in the house, and there's a lot that needs to be done, like, there's a carpet that's I don't know for how long has been here. I am guessing, like, 100 years because that's what it looks like to me. So we pull it off ourselves from some of the rooms. So I have these big um things that I need to get done, but there's only so much money, right? Because there's more work in the house that we are getting done right now. So I want to make a list of these things and build them in order of like how much would I spend to do each one, and start with the ones that cost less and go into the ones that cost more. So that list is actually in my to-do list to do that list. So, it's just life in my household, people. What can I say?
Oh, that's funny. You know, you're not crazy. Don't worry about it. Because I have on my to-do list for today, for example, to do a to-do list for my trip. So I do have in my a to-do list to be done because I don't have a list yet for my trip, but I have to do that.
You're going to Germany, right?
Yes, can't wait.
Yeah, that'll be fun. How long?
Just
How
one
long
week.
you're gonna
Just
stay
one
there?
week, just to see my sister.
Okay, I'm looking forward to hear how the trip was. I know you're leaving tomorrow, and that has been our Happy Go Moody podcast for today. Messy or organized, we wish that you today have a wonderful day.